The galaxy believed itself ancient and complete, every star charted, every major species catalogued, every threat categorized and contained. The great Concord ruled by consensus and precedent, confident that nothing truly unknown remained. For 10,000 cycles, the Concord fleets had enforced peace through superiority, their doctrines flawless against pirates, rebels, and even rival coalitions. War had become a solved equation, predictable and contained. Then the silence began. At the edge of mapped space, entire listening arrays went dark, not destroyed, not damaged, simply silent. Signals vanished mid-transmission, automated beacons reported nothing before cutting off, as if the void itself had swallowed sound. The Concorde dismissed it at first, blaming stellar interference or subspace drift, until the first fleet failed to return. Fleet 7 entered the Cairo's expanse on a routine patrol, 80 warships strong, layered shields, antimatter lances, reality shear torpedoes. Their last message was calm and professional, stating no hostile contacts, then nothing. No debris was found, no radiation signature, no wreckage cloud, just empty space where 80 ships had been. Fear crept into council chambers, where fear had been absent for millennia. Emergency sessions were called, analysts argued, admirals demanded action, philosophers warned of overreaction. Still, the Concorde sent more ships, because that was what the galaxy had always done. Fleet 12 was larger, better prepared, equipped with experimental sensors designed to detect exotic matter and higher dimensional distortions. They advanced in battle formation, weapons hot, crews tense. This time, the fleet recorded everything. The first contact was not an attack. Space folded inward like fabric pulled through a ring. Stars warped, distances collapsed, and something emerged that could not be described as a ship. It had no visible propulsion, no heat signature, no familiar geometry. It did not fire immediately. Instead, it spoke, not through sound or signal, but through every sensor at once, a pressure of meaning rather than words, a declaration that bypassed translation. You are observed, you are measured, you are insufficient. Then the battle began. Concorde weapons struck first, beams of focused annihilation crossed the void, torpedoes tore through space, reality itself was weaponized, yet the entity did not dodge or block. The attacks simply ceased to exist upon contact, erased as if they had never been fired. The entity responded with motion, not weapons, motion that rewrote trajectories. Ships found themselves colliding with their own escorts, shields inverted, reactors destabilized. Fleet 12 lasted 6 minutes. Their final transmission carried more than data. It carried panic, awe, and one terrifying realization. This enemy did not fight like any species known. It fought like the galaxy itself was its weapon. And somewhere far beyond the Concorde, something else was watching. The Concorde reeled, doctrine shattered overnight. Centuries of strategic certainty collapsed into confusion. War planners who had never lost a simulation found every model failing. Nothing predicted the enemy, nothing countered it. Some counselors argued for retreat, others for surrender. A few whispered the unthinkable, that the galaxy had finally met its superior. Then a message arrived from a direction no one had considered important. From a small, noisy, barely tolerated species on the edge of Concorde space. Humanity. Humans had been late to the galactic stage, aggressive, inventive, and unsettlingly adaptable. Their ships lacked elegance, their politics were chaotic, their history disturbingly violent, yet they had survived everything thrown at them. The message was simple. We have encountered something similar. We survived. The Concorde was desperate enough to listen. Human representatives arrived not with reverence but urgency. They spoke of encounters beyond mapped space, of things that bent physics and ignored known laws, of losses that had nearly ended them, and of how they learned to fight back. You cannot outgun them, a human admiral said. You cannot outthink them in your own framework. You must break the rules they expect. The Concorde scoffed until the human admiral displayed battle footage. Human ships moving erratically, not for evasion, but unpredictability, weapons firing at mathematically inefficient angles, reactors pushed beyond safe limits, crews manually overriding systems that other species trusted to automation. And most importantly, humans did not try to negate the enemy's control of space. They flooded it. The humans proposed a joint stand at a star system with unstable gravity wells, rogue planets, and chaotic radiation fields, a place no rational fleet would choose for battle. The enemy would come because it always came. When it did, the galaxy watched. Concorde ships formed precise formations. Humans did not. They scattered, overlapped, crossed firing lanes in ways that made Concorde tacticians wince. The entity emerged, confident, measuring. Then the humans detonated the battlefield. Artificial gravity spikes, localized time dilation bursts, mass driver volleys filled space with debris and noise, not to damage the enemy, but to deny it clarity. The entity hesitated, a fraction of a second. It was enough. Human weapons struck not with power, but persistence, layers of kinetic impact, radiation floods, chaotic energy signatures, none decisive alone, but together overwhelming. The entity recoiled, space snapping back violently. For the first time, the enemy withdrew. The galaxy did not cheer, it went silent. Because now it knew. It was not alone. And it was not helpless. Victory did not come without price. The battlefield was littered with wreckage, human and Concorde ships, alike torn apart by forces barely understood. Entire crews lost to spatial collapse and temporal shear. The enemy had retreated, not been destroyed, and everyone knew it was learning. In the aftermath, the Concorde faced a truth more frightening than defeat. Their way of war was obsolete. Humans worked tirelessly alongside alien engineers, rewriting doctrines, tearing down assumptions, introducing concepts that horrified traditionalists, deliberate redundancy, emotional decision-making, controlled chaos. Where the Concorde sought harmony, humans embraced friction. Interrogation of battle data revealed something deeper. The enemy was not a single species, but a convergence, a civilization that had evolved beyond physical form, existing partially outside conventional reality. It had consumed others, absorbed their knowledge, their strategies, their certainty. The Concorde had been predictable, therefore vulnerable. Humans were not. As joint fleets trained, the enemy returned in probing strikes, testing defenses, adapting rapidly, each engagement deadlier than the last. Yet each time, the humans adjusted faster, improvising new tactics mid-battle, sacrificing ships to gain seconds, trusting intuition where logic failed. Other species began to adopt human methods, reluctantly at first, then eagerly. Fleets became less uniform, captains were given autonomy, crews trained for failure rather than perfection. The galaxy was changing. In one brutal engagement near a binary pulsar, a human captain rammed their crippled ship directly into an enemy manifestation, overloading every system, collapsing local space. The entity screamed across sensors, a sound of distortion and loss. It fled again, wounded. That battle confirmed what many suspected. The enemy could feel pain. And pain meant vulnerability. But the cost was heavy, billions dead across dozens of systems, stars destabilized, worlds scarred by weapons that bent reality. The Concorde mourned, humanity mourned, yet neither backed down. Because surrender no longer meant survival. It meant consumption. The final stand came not as a single battle, but a campaign across light years, a war of adaptation, deception, and endurance. The enemy struck everywhere, testing, learning, evolving. So did the galaxy. Human-led task forces coordinated with Concord fleets, smaller, faster, less predictable, luring the enemy into traps built from astrophysical chaos, collapsing stars, artificial singularities, weaponized uncertainty. The enemy lost coherence, its unity fracturing under pressure it had never faced. In the Battle of Shattered Orbits, the largest confrontation in recorded history, the galaxy fought not as separate species, but as one. When the enemy attempted to assert control over space itself, humans did something unthinkable. They let it. By overloading reality anchors across the battlefield, they allowed space to tear, then forced it to heal violently, trapping fragments of the enemy within collapsing dimensions. It was not a clean victory, but it was final enough. What remained of the enemy withdrew beyond reach, diminished, cautious, no longer certain of dominance. The galaxy had proven something it never believed before. It was not the pinnacle of existence, but neither was it prey. In the centuries that followed, the Concord transformed, no longer a stagnant council of certainty, but a living alliance built on adaptability and shared defense. Humanity was no longer an outsider, but a cornerstone, respected and feared in equal measure. And beyond the stars, in spaces still uncharted, others watched and reconsidered. Because the battle had sent a message louder than any signal. The galaxy was never alone, and it had learned how to fight back. If you want, I can also adapt this into an HFY YouTube narration script, add chapter music cues, or create a cinematic thumbnail prompt to match this story.